to everyone. We have Deeseabrooks here in the, I guess, technically chat room with us, and she's just going to be sharing a little bit about her experiences and answering a bit about a few questions about the POC community and just cosplay in general. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm very happy to be here. Hello, everybody. Like you said, I'm Deeseabrooks. I go by Deeseabrooks on everything, so it's really easy to find me.
Yes, definitely check out her Instagram. She's got some awesome pictures. Once again, you want to spell that for everyone just to make sure they can find you?
Yep, it's Deeseabrooks. So C like the big C. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So we can go ahead and start today's conversation off with an easy one, which is how long have you been cosplaying for?
I've been cosplaying for a long time. So for I won't do math, but I want to say the first time I cosplayed was probably 2004, 2005.
Nice. And who did you cosplay as?
My very first cosplay was, I want to say Erd from Oh My Goddess.
Once again, another series I have never seen.
It's a pretty old one. It's about this. It's basically just a harem anime. I'm just gonna sum it up like that.
Okay. So, what attracted you to this character from that anime?
Actually, it was because I'd read a lot of manga and seen a lot of things, and there were very, very few Black female cosplayers. I was also a teenager at the time, so there were very few, not cosplayers, Black female characters in anime at the time that weren't scantily clad.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I was 14, 15, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was really hard to find characters that I could cosplay that my mother would allow me to. And of course, every teenager wants to be cute. So Erd is kind of, she's cute, she's sexy, but you could also get away with cosplaying her without revealing too much skin.
Gotcha. So she basically had to get the Mama Seabrook stamp of approval before you could cosplay. Yeah. Understandable. So that leads us right into a kind of controversial topic or issue in the cosplay community, which is, I guess, lewds. And how do you feel about them?
Personally, it's not something that I'm into doing, and I've talked about this a lot with friends, and I have friends who do them. I have friends with Patreons who have them locked behind a paywall. And I mean, I thought about making a Patreon, but not for lewds. That was the very first thing I said. I don't want to ever do lewds. I feel like a lot of people feel pressured into doing lewds as female cosplayers in general because they feel like that's the only way to get paid. Mm-hmm. Cosplay is expensive, and I get it. I get why you would take a route that seems the most obvious route to get money. Sex sells. But I would rather find a way for me personally to get paid and be able to continue doing this hobby of mine without. And I have nothing against, that's not to say, I have nothing against other cosplayers who do lewds. I feel like your body, your choice, Mm-hmm. I'm very into the whole feminist thing. Like, we should be able to own our bodies and do whatever we want with them. If you want to own your sexuality and, do lewds and do, suggestive pictures as well, then that's completely up to you, and you should be able to make that decision for yourself.
Gotcha. I definitely agree with that. And basically, you were saying you didn't think that everyone, had to do lewds essentially, or should feel they have to do lewds. What's another way that you think that female cosplayers in particular can make money to enjoy and do their craft?
Oh, it's all about the craft. So I I follow people who are really good at specific things. Like I have a friend, Jazz, who's really great cosplayer. And she is amazing at armor. She's top notch. Or there's a UK cosplayer who I watch, Caitlin Courage, I believe. Mm-hmm. And her sewing technique is amazing. She has millions of, like, well, not millions, but she has like thousands of followers for a reason, you know? So, so you can definitely make money, even if I mean, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is selling costumes.
Yeah.
You don't even have to sell costumes. You could actually, have a Patreon or have a Twitch or a stream on YouTube and show how to make things.
That's so true. That's true. Yeah, I feel like honestly that those routes are a little bit more time consuming and require a little bit more effort than Ludes do, which is why a lot of people, veer away from them. But I definitely think those are, of course, viable options also.
Yeah.
And what did you say the name of that cosplayer was that makes the amazing armor?
Jazz.
Jazz something, yeah.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay. We'll revisit it, yeah. So do you make armor?
I have not made armor very much. I have one cosplay where I did Power Girl and I managed to make, the gold shoulder plate thing, and I was so proud of myself. But beyond that, it's something I want to delve into. My next cosplay is Urbosa, the Zelda champion from Breath of the Wild. And part of her cosplay is a little bit of armor, a little bit of fabric, or a lot of fabric really, but a little bit of armor. And so it's definitely something that I'm going to be leaning on all these cosplayers that I know that do armor to help me out with, like, teaching me, like, what supplies and things.
Very nice. So, being that you're new to the armor making, which I'm sure, a lot of us are, we're not out here creating those amazing, what do you see, those Monster Hunter armor sets, those,
oh my God.
Oh yeah, those extravagant or those Gundam builds. A lot of us are nowhere near that level. So, if I were to come to you and say, I want to start making armor, and you have, like you said, delved a bit in it yourself, I guess, like, what would you tell me? What are the steps you would walk me through?
Well, I definitely would say experiment with things like Warpla, or Warbla. I always say that wrong. Experiment with Warbla. There's also liquid foam that you can use. There's all sorts of supplies. I love going to hardware stores like AC Moore's and the Harbor Freight Warehouse, Home Depot, where you'd be surprised the things that you can find. Like, I found some hand gloves that had pads on them, and that's actually where I started with the shoulder plate armor that I made. So, and then practicing painting techniques, looking at different paints. There's a lot that goes into it. Just practice.
Gotcha. Yeah. Exactly. And I just actually today is the 30th, tomorrow's 31st. Yeah, I'll be releasing an article tomorrow just talking about the pros and the cons of EVA foam. So definitely check that out. It's pretty, basic article, but I think it gets its point across.
Yeah.
So do you actually have anything to comment on, like, the main differences between craft foam and EVA foam and Warbler?
Okay, so there's like there's a lot of differences. Like, Warbler is kind of like, once you use the heat on it and then you put it in a place, it's kind of stiff. So sometimes you want things to move a little. So you definitely want to try out EVA foam as well, just to, like, see the differences. And then, layering is a thing. Are you gonna layer? Are you not gonna layer things? Do you want it to be thicker or thinner? I feel like I'm not, I haven't experimented enough, but then life is always an experimentation,
It definitely is. Life is 100% experimentation. It's just a lot of times, especially with cosplay, it's just jumping in the pool and figuring out how to swim and hoping you don't drown.
Yep.
Yeah. Very nice. So I know we just finished up MomoCon, and you said you had a good time there. For anyone that didn't make it, do you have any advice on why they should make it to MomoCon next year?
Oh my goodness, there's so many things to see at MomoCon. It gets bigger and bigger. The guests are amazing. Um, Gosh, the cosplay is insane. Every single year, I'm always impressed. There's more and more people who just put so much time and effort into their
Mm-hmm.
costumes. And I'm not from Atlanta originally, but I live here now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always my dream city to move to. And now that I moved here, I think I made a great decision because I'm not to say that people should move to Atlanta because we've got enough traffic. But a lot of people are so nice and so respectful and so accepting of different people and different
Mm-hmm.
cultures, and it's something to definitely experience. Now, I can't say that everybody at MomoCon is going to accept you as who you are, or,
Of course.
things like that, because we have a lot of people from all over the place. You never know.
Gotcha.
But definitely it's nice to experience both the con and the city.
Gotcha. It's a 2-for-1 package.
Yep.
Nice, nice. So, I guess we wanted to talk a little bit about the POC community. You're a POC cosplayer yourself.
Definitely.
How would you say the POC community for cosplay is out there in Atlanta?
In Atlanta, it's huge. It's booming. I've never seen anything like it here here. There's so many different, there's so many POC cosplayers. There's so many specifically Black cosplayers in Atlanta. And, we've got a lot of the like really high famous ones like, K-Bear, I think even, I can't think of her name. I'm really bad with names.
No problem, no problem. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, just a lot of people are here and they're all very nice, and it's very easy to talk to anyone and learn things from them and even become friends. And, I would definitely say it's easy to just walk up to somebody that you might think is just unattainable, and it turns out they're a human being and they're willing to be friends with you.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I know I'm definitely at MomoCon. I'm, of course, met you and lots of other POC cosplayers. What would you say is the biggest problem facing the POC community?
The biggest problem, I think it's always going to be the same thing that faces people of color, period. It's having to combat things like racism or misconceptions. And, for instance, it used to be that it was weird to see somebody who was Black and who was into this kind of stuff. It's like, what is that? You're nerdy. When I was younger, when I was growing up, so I'm originally from Louisiana, from the New Orleans area, and I don't think I knew anybody who was into anime. Like, what?
Yeah.
And so to come from that to where we are, where we have these huge groups, and there's POC groups on Facebook that are like in the hundreds of thousands. So we were talking about people of color and the biggest problems we face. And a lot of it is that misconception. And so, it went from when I was younger, it's like you were called all kinds of things like, I hate saying them, but, Oreo, or saying that, you're white and things like that just because you like these things. But now it's starting to evolve. We're seeing more Black creators where, it's like we're allowed to actually like things we like without being called other. And so now it's kind of shifted to where we're not combating just ourselves. We don't have to combat ourselves as much anymore like that. Now we're having to combat other people. We're having to combat the stigma of, oh, you're not, people frame it as, you're not Japanese, so you can't be that character. But really what they're saying is you're not white. Because white cosplayers don't really face that hardly ever.
Yeah, that type of criticism and that type of racism. Yeah.
And then on top of people saying, you know, you should only cosplay as Black characters and things like that, or pressuring people or making people feel like they should go out of their way to cosplay a Black character just to show representation, when we should just be able to have representation and cosplay whoever we want to.
Agreed. And, you know, so we were like talking about before, you know, we even started the podcast here, that, you know, that's exactly why I started this podcast, essentially, was just to discuss, you know, growing up in, I don't know which year you were born, but, you know, I was born in 87. And so there was no Black anime guys. There was no, you know, there was Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho. There were no Black people in any of those. I was just, you know, that was crazy. And like the idea of cosplay was even more crazy. So, you know, your parents would be like, "Oh, you're out there doing that demon stuff, and, you know, we got to take you to church." And you know how Black families are. So
I know exactly how it is. My mother was fortunately very supportive of me, so I personally was able to just cosplay and everything, but I definitely had friends. In fact, my roommate even was like, her parents are just like, "What are you doing? I don't understand my weird child."
Yes. Yeah.
So my mom was just kind of like, "Yeah, you know, she's into her thing, but it's okay. She's not doing anything bad."
Yeah, she says, you know, doing her thing. I mean, you know, you could be out here doing drugs, or you could be out here robbing people. You could be out here getting, you know, bad grades, whatever have you. Just like, if I want to dress up like someone on the weekend or even on the weekday, what's the problem? So
yeah, exactly. So it's something that we had to overcome, and I think it's being less and less
taboo.
Exactly. It's less taboo, but it's definitely still kind of a thing. I see a lot of parents coming to panels about being a parent when your kid is into anime and how to do that.
Yeah. At least it's making gains, though, so nice. So being a, you know, female cosplayer in the POC community, what is that, you know, let's say in terms of sexism, what is that like?
Honestly, I think the sexism part of it is the same whether you're a person of color or not.
That one's universal.
It's hard because, especially now being an adult female cosplayer, there's definitely characters I want to cosplay that are not completely covered, you know, like who doesn't want to be like Mincat or you know, just I don't know, just throwing people out there. Michiko from Michiko to Hachin. It's really cool and really exciting. She was based off of Aaliyah. Like, who doesn't want to be Aaliyah?
Of course.
Right? But they're also like, I remember when I was growing up, really the most popular Black female brown characters, I should say, because not all of them were actually Black, were like Black Rose, who is basically wearing a bikini. Or Anthe is completely covered, but she's Indian, I believe. But all of the characters that were actually Black, almost, I don't think there were many of them at all that had clothes on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's also part of the you know, just sci-fi, not even just anime world. Like, you know, you're a female, you got to be strong, and we can do all that, but you're not gonna have many clothes on, and that's just kind of the way the world works. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, everybody loves The Fifth Element, but she's got
like toilet paper.
Like, she's got like nothing on.
So yeah, very true. And then, you know, it's contrasting to the males. The males are always like fully covered. I discussed this, I think even with you when we were at MomoCon or at somebody else at another convention, is how, you know, female cosplayers can show so much skin, and, you know, regardless of the level of craft or the level of difficulty, they're usually greeted with warm regards, you know, like, oh, that's, you know, they're attractive or whatever have you. But man, let a dude just start swinging dick around. Oh man, we have a problem. You know, it's like, oh, that dude's a perv. Why is he dressed like that? So yeah, it's kind of a double standard, but it goes
Yeah,
both ways.
I'll definitely say on the other side of that though, even though it's accepted that we dress that way, it's not too. It's kind of like we dress that way and then people think that they own our bodies or they're allowed to do whatever. Or, you know, I had a whole conversation where me and like 5 other people were talking about our experiences being sexually harassed at conventions.
Oh, do tell, at least a little.
Okay, yeah. So that same Erd costume, it was a little low cut. It was barely, I mean, like probably as much cleavage as I'm showing right now.
Oh yeah, the people can't see, but yeah, it's not very much.
It's not much at all. But I was, you know, I was young, and so I didn't know any better. And I go to pose. Somebody asked me for a picture, so I go to pose for a picture. I'm just like that. I learned a lesson. Girls, don't do this ever.
Describe what you're doing. Describe it.
Oh, so the whole you put your arms together type thing. So girls don't put their arms together and
like crossing your arms and squishing your boobs together, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not a thing that we do or should do because it instantly is just like gonna get some unwanted attention. So I didn't know any better. I'm doing this. I'm posing. I think I'm so cute. And this guy goes, lean a bit lower. And stupid me does it. And then I see their eyes go down. And then my eyes go up. I swear I wanted to go home immediately.
Yeah.
I was so upset.
That's hilarious. I mean, hilarious in a bad way, but still hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Another friend of mine at the same convention, I can't remember what she was dressed as, but it was, you know, it was she was showing less skin basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy asked her to take a picture, and so she's thinking she's taking the picture by herself, so she poses, and then he pushes some guy out of the way to get up next to her, and then she's like, okay, and then as soon as the guy raises the camera to click, he grabs her and nuzzles his face in her boobs.
Wow.
And yeah, and so I can't remember what he said something horribly creepy to her. And then, of course, she went and got security, but half the time security can barely do anything because they have to find the person. And,
of course.
You know.
Wow, that's crazy. You know, because I hear stories about all this stuff, you know, from fellow cosplayers and friends, but like I've never actually seen anything occur personally, you know. So I mean, like I said, I'm not doubting that they happen. Of course, I know they happen, but I just never even seen one personally. So.
I definitely. I've only had my own experiences, and the closest I've seen anything happen, I can definitely see when guys are trying to hit on a girl really poorly and she's clearly not into it and they're not getting the hint. So, you know, fellow girls, make sure you look out for other girls. Guys, look out for the girls.
So with that idea, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, normally you try to come up with some sort of reason to get them out of that situation. And I just saw that actually happen at MomoCon. This girl was dressed as Sid from Final Fantasy 14. And 14? The boy band one.
Fifth? I forget which one that is.
15, maybe? It was.
I think it's 15. I think it's 15.
Yeah, I've lost track.
Yeah.
But, great game, but so Sid was basically turned into a girl for that game, for anybody who doesn't know, and she's in like a yellow bikini top and Daisy Duke booty shorts. And so, which is, you know, if you want to cosplay that, that's awesome. Like I would love to cosplay that if I felt like, you know, that was in the cards for me. But and she looked great dressed as Sid, waiting for this dance game behind me, kind of talking about it, watching this guy. He's really great. And then this other guy just walks up and starts randomly talking to her. And the first thing he says is, "Hey, so what are you doing later tonight?"
Mm.
Like, that's not the first thing you say to a complete stranger. Like, I don't think Chris Hemsworth could get away with that. I don't think Idris Elba could get away with that. You know?
Yeah.
So she clearly is very uncomfortable. She's trying to shut this guy down every step of the way. He keeps asking her questions. She keeps answering with one-word answers.
Yeah, one-liners.
And he's not getting it. So right before I'm about to turn around and be like, "Hey, are you ready to go to the party? I think we're just waiting a little too long." She goes, "Yeah, dude, no, I don't want to hang out with you."
Oh, man.
I'm standing in front of her and I'm just like, yes.
Nice. Shut them down like that.
Sometimes it's hard to be straightforward with people because people definitely retaliate. And I think that's honestly the biggest thing we face as female cosplayers is somebody going to retaliate? Are they going to do something bad? They could just, it could be, honestly, to me, doxing isn't even the worst somebody can do, considering I've seen people get death threats. I've seen people be actually harassed. There's women who aren't cosplayers, but like just women in general who have been killed over turning a guy down. So we have to, worry about how is this guy going to react if we shoot him down immediately.
So with that idea in mind, what advice would you give if you actually were, legitimately trying to approach a female at a convention?
If you are actually interested in someone at a convention, now first off, a girl can tell if you're just being lustful or if you actually see something that you think is cool that she's done. So nobody, I don't think anybody's really just into unless she's on that level. She's like, I'm just out here having fun and, living it up. Nobody really wants to just be an object.
Yeah.
So if you are approaching a girl at a convention, you should actually compliment her on something that's not her body. For instance, she has a great cosplay. Wow, I really love your cosplay. Did you make it? Ask her a question. Start an actual conversation. Get to know that girl. Treat her like she's another person. Like you wouldn't walk up to a guy and be like, "So, what are you doing later tonight?" I think all girls want to be treated like human beings, and I think guys forget that the same way you would talk to one of your guy friends, you can easily talk to a girl and then transition into, "So, I'm interested in you,"
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a pretty fair tactic and honestly kind of obvious, but a lot of people don't seem to know that nowadays.
Yeah, people don't pick up on it. I think people, and it's hard at conventions because there's a lot of people that are on the spectrum or who aren't as good as talking to people. And sometimes it comes from being ostracized in the community that you're in. And so it's really easy to walk up to somebody, and even if you do walk up to somebody and you're like, "Oh wow, she's really attractive, I want to get to know her," and you get flustered. It happens. The best thing to do is just keep practicing and trying to talk to people and remembering that you don't have to have a romantic relationship with every single person that you think is attractive.
Gotcha. So, I'm glad we touched on that topic. But yeah,
I was like off kilter, sort of.
We're good. But returning back to like the POC community and cosplaying in general, what are some characters that you think you could advise some new cosplayers to cosplay as if they wanted to cosplay as Black play characters, if that makes sense.
A friend of mine, Talin Kell, actually said it herself, and it was a really good suggestion. If you want to, if you want to get into cosplay for the first time, you're a Black female cosplayer, and you don't know what to cosplay, and you want to just experience it and have a good experience, cosplay as Storm.
Gotcha.
Honestly,
Yeah, it's a very common one, for Black females.
Yeah, I used to hate when people would tell me, "Oh, you should cosplay as Storm," because it feels like it's like, "Oh, you should just cosplay as the only Black female cosplayer. Black female character I know." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you make the decision on your own to cosplay as Storm, it is actually a really good experience, and people instantly know who you are. People want to take pictures of you. You get that same experience that everybody else does for doing a good craft, and also you don't experience the marginalized side of everything right away. So, you get to experience your first time as a good time.
Gotcha. And I'm actually releasing an article tomorrow about that. Like the top 10 characters you can cosplay as if you're Black. I included, let's see, who did I include? Saz from Final Fantasy 12, Aokiji from One Piece, Dutch from Black Lagoon. Some characters that.
Oh. I can't think of her name, but from
what series?
Bleach.
Yoichi. Yoichi, yeah.
Yeah. She's great. There's a couple of them out there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of male characters, like you said. Final Fantasy. Was that 12? Was that really 12?
I think it was 12.
No, it's not
11.
12. It's 14, 13, 14.
Okay, 13. I get them all mixed up.
The one with lightning.
The one with lightning. Exactly. It's the one with lightning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, he's great. He's basically Mike Epps, but, in Final Fantasy.
Yes, pretty much. With a huge afro and a chocobo that resides in it.
Yeah, I loved him. When I first got that game, I was so happy.
Yeah.
It was like, finally, a Black male character that isn't like a weird gangster dude with giant lips.
I think that's the first since Barrett in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
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 Well, almost.
Also, if you're a bigger dude, do Barrett.
Yeah. I think the younger generation probably has no idea what we're talking about right now, but yes, definitely look up Barrett. Barrett was he paved the way for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
wrong. They won't even know Mr. P either. If I say
and a character I've been dying to see. I don't know if you played the game No More Heroes for Wii.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember Shinobu?
Yep. That was on my list before, and then I just I think No More Heroes got a little old, and I was like, but Travis Strikes Back is about to come out, so it might revisit.
Yeah, I have never even I've looked up Shinobu cosplays on DeviantArt and of course on Google, and I can't really find any. I'm like, someone needs to make this happen, please, please, please.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Another character.
I've seen 2 in my lifetime.
I haven't seen any. One day though.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm going to just quickly, I apologize, I'm going to quickly shout out those cosplayers that I was talking about earlier. So the one I was talking about with the really awesome armor, her Instagram is Jazz the Bat Cosplay. So Jazz, the music, Jazz the Bat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she's amazing. Absolutely outstanding.
And I just followed her on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's great. She is also a POC cosplayer. Yeah.
Very nice. Just
Yeah.
everyone, I'm sure you can go over to her Instagram and check her out. She does have some phenomenal armor builds, and especially as a female cosplayer, I see a lot of the males doing, the cosplay builds, like the huge armor sets, because they kind of have to in order to get any accreditation. But it's rare really to see females doing this type of work, at least I feel. And yeah, her work is pretty good. So
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
check that
She's
out.
pretty great.
Very nice.
Um,
So, which convention are you heading to next?
my next convention is either going to be Heroes Con or Dragon Con.
Mm,
So Heroes Con is in North Carolina. It's very much so geared towards Western comics. There's a lot of creators there. There's a lot of networking opportunities for anybody who's into comics.
mm-hmm.
There, it's pretty great. The cosplay scene is a lot less there than the normal conventions I go to. However, I really love the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So I may go to Heroes Con, and then the next convention after that will definitely be Dragon Con. I've already paid for my hotel and everything.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I might need to talk to you because I don't have a place to stay at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of everybody's in my DMs about this hotel thing.
Yeah, those hotel fees are a bit much. Anyone who doesn't know, Jesus Christ, you'll learn. Like, aside from the cosplay, the hotel rooms are ridiculous. So.
Yeah, it's got a wait, there's a name for it. Is it the game of it's like a Game of Thrones reference to like the hotel like triathlon thing that happens.
I'm not even sure I've heard it.
Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember what it's called. But essentially, all of the hotels, like they're booked. I have a Hilton Honors account where like I can usually book any hotel throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
I tried doing this with my Honors account. I can't even book a hotel during that time, no matter what time of year it is, with my account.
Wow.
They closed down those, like the entire hotels for that entire weekend are closed down. You can't get a hotel until they release them on Facebook, and it's just like bam, here's the link, have at it, and you're just very lucky if you get the hotel you want.
Gotcha. It's like a raffle.
Yeah, it's like a lottery. It's insane. Yeah. I don't know how. So the best hotel to get into for Dragon Con is the Marriott. Mm-hmm. That's the party hotel. All of the big parties, all of the everything happens there. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know how we got a hotel room in the Marriott, but we did.
Very nice.
So like I said, people are in my DMs about that hotel room.
Of course, man. Yeah, you're like, this golden child right now, and everybody's got to get in with you. And oh, Jesus, I just showed my age again with that reference. But yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I forgot what I was going to say. I think I was just going to talk about Dragon Con. It's great.
It is. It's massive. It's a bit intimidating, especially for your first con. I would not recommend it for your first con, but I
would say if you're gonna go to Dragon Con, just go for a day and see how you feel.
Yeah.
I went for a day and I loved it. It was amazing. But if you're not good with crowds, it's not the convention for you. I want to say there's over 80,000 people. Easily. Yeah. It's huge. There's several like giant skyscraper buildings that they take up with their programming, and it can definitely be overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to a convention, if you want to have fun, if you want to see the best cosplays out there, the top for one of the top conventions for cosplays, like
easily.
Yeah, I would say it's right under, New York and San Diego Comic-Con and things like that.
Yeah, it's something, especially as like a cosplay photographer. I know I get out to the what is that? The huge it's like the park where everyone goes there to take pictures. It's like a massive gazebo thing. I don't know. I don't know the
Piedmont
name of it.
Park?
I have no idea the name of this park. I just know all the photographers are always there, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are. And I mean, I easily because I took.
Oh, Centennial Park.
Is that it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's right down the street. It's like in
Yes.
between the aquarium and all of that.
Yeah. 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 So yeah,
Hmm.
I'll definitely be there. And I mean, I took 1,100 photos at MomoCon.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and I'm just starting to go through them probably this afternoon into this weekend. And I'm only editing like I usually do like 100 at a time. So even with that, it's going to take me like 11 days to get through all of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can't even imagine how many I'll take at Dragon Con. So whatever. Um, but something you had mentioned earlier was makeup. Makeup for. Are you pretty good with makeup?
I am a makeup artist. I was mentioning Jazz the Bat earlier, and I did her makeup for her most recent pictures.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So definitely, because I know makeup is, especially like, well, aside from like Fenty, Rihanna's brand, makeup is not
Mhm.
tailored usually to African Americans. So
It's hard.
it's hard, yeah.
I don't think in fact, before Fenty, there was one other brand that was geared towards African American women or men, African American people, I should
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Um, but I believe they went under, unfortunately, because most people didn't even know about them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But aside from Fenty and that one brand, there were not really prestige cosmetics. That's what prestige, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically the brands that are, they're more expensive. They're the industry brands that, TV industry professionals use, things like Smashbox.
Mm-hmm.
Those are prestige brands, and there weren't really prestige brands of cosmetics for specifically Black people.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from those, like the only things we had were the drugstore or beauty supply store stuff. Iman actually has some pretty good stuff. They're a little too warm for my skin tone,
Mm-hmm.
but Iman, like she's the model. She was married to Bowie. She has a great line. Queen Latifah had a line with Maybelline called Queen. She has, I should say, she still has. And I'm trying to think of others. There are a lot of Asian brands that are flying under the radar that are trying to make things specifically for African American women, because they realize that, we're very lucrative for makeup.
Definitely.
And for skincare. So, but besides that, especially like Black owned businesses, there
Yeah.
not many, a handful, literally.
So how would you, give me a rough tutorial on how you apply cosplay makeup? I know nothing about makeup. I mean, I don't know foundation from eyeliner. I don't nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so sure. So there's there's different styles. So for instance, at MomoCon I had more of a glamour, something that you would see in like photo shoot type style. But then there's also the more theatrical style, and there's different makeups you would use for each. Now, I haven't quite found the brand of makeup that's geared towards Black people for theatrical makeup. However, I definitely have found some brands that are good for different skin types. So there's oily skin, dry skin combination, people who have sensitive skin, things like that. And so the number one thing you want to do is, one, take care of your skin. The first thing that you start with makeup is not makeup, it's skincare. You always lotion your skin. You always make sure you have enough moisturizer. There's like the Korean 12-step routine that's really popular right now, because I want to say 10 of those 12 steps are moisturizing. Hydrating, what you eat, what you put in your body has a huge effect on your makeup as well. But all that aside, Then the essential steps that I do, or that I did for when I cosplayed as Yumiko at MomoCon, were moisturize. I have a vitamin C oil that I use, and then I put on primer, and primer just keeps your makeup on your face longer, and it makes your face smoother. Then you put on your concealer, your foundation, your eyeliner. You put on your you put eyeshadow first, and then I actually like to set my face with powder. So I know I'm kind of outdated with this now. People have moved on to other types of powders, but I still use the Ben Nye banana powder, and I'll put that on. It's I
have no idea what you're talking about, but yeah, I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah. So Ben Nye is actually a theatrical makeup brand. I do like to do theatrical makeup as well. And most of the makeup that I use for that is I use Ben Nye and I use Mayron.
Okay.
I recently picked up a palette, and it's by CC Beauty. And I really like that. Like, you put it on your face and you wait 10 minutes and it's not going to move until you want it to.
Nice.
So, that's pretty great. I love theatrical makeup more than anything. You always want to set your makeup. So they have translucent setting powders. Then they have colored setting powders. So the banana powder is like a yellowish tint color powder that I put under my eyes. It makes it look all smooth, and there's no lines, no redness, no nothing. So you always set it. I don't know. There's so much that goes into makeup.
No, this is all fascinating and new to me.
Yeah, look for me at a convention coming soon near you.
Yes, definitely check her out at Dragon Con and get all the 411 on exactly what to do, because she's speaking a foreign language to me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. There's there's a misconception that you have to use expensive makeup. I would say if you're going to get foundation, get expensive foundation, and then get beauty supply store everything else, But specifically for Black female cosplayers, it's also hard for eyeshadows. Eyeshadows don't show up on us, so that's the color stuff that you put on your eye.
Gotcha.
So I use this stuff that's called NYX White Base, and it's literally this white kind of oily stuff that you put on first, and then you put the colors on top of it, and it shows up. But and that's something that's unfortunate about the makeup industry, is a lot of eyeshadows aren't opaque enough. They don't show up on us. They're not made for us. There's some brands that are really good at making makeup that shows up on us. That again, they're not Black owned, but they're making an effort, and that's great. So big shout out to Sugar Pill. They're awesome. They were just at I believe it's called RuPaul's Drag Con in LA. So, a lot of the things we learned about makeup nowadays are really from drag queens being over exaggerated. And so that's how we learned how to do the contour and the things that you hear about. But so Sugar Pill is great. You dip, you dab, and it's there. Whatever color it is that color. Morphe is really awesome. But with Morphe, I would say be careful of what palettes and who you're buying, because they do have makeup artist brands. And some of those makeup artists are not really supportive of Black people. So you should just be aware of who you're supporting. Do they support you? And some of them are. Some of them do support Black people or people of color in general. So I'm a big proponent of making sure you know where your money's going.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, that was a lot to take in, and I'm sure our listeners would definitely appreciate it. Once again, head over to Deeseabrooks Instagram to see some of these tips in action and what you could potentially look like. Maybe not as good, but definitely you'll get there.
And feel free to ask questions. I mean, I am not inaccessible. I think even the people who have like 100,000, like 1 million followers on Instagram, they will answer their DMs because half the time people are afraid to DM them.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that being said, don't everybody just rush to like DM somebody,
Yeah.
But like, if you have a question, if you want help, try.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely just reach out and ask for help.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think that's actually everything we had for today. We went over time a little bit, but that's okay. Maybe with some editing, we'll get cut down. If not, it's all
Yeah.
good. It's good information regardless. So I just wanted to say thank you again to Deeseabrooks for taking the time to talk to us about all this information. That was a lot to take in. So maybe play the podcast on 0.5 speed instead of 1.0.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Oh yeah, just thank you everybody for listening. Definitely be supportive of your fellow people, POC cosplayers, no matter what. Also, don't neglect everybody else. Don't get me wrong, but definitely just be conscientious of what you put out in the world, and just make sure you put out love.
Perfect. Very nice. Well, that's everything for today. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. And until next time, everyone, stay boundless. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.